Hi everyone, welcome to our homeschool table. My name is Jerilyn and I'm a mom of 3 kids ages 9, 3, and 10 months old. My daughter is in the 4th grade and we are finishing our 5th year of homeschooling and we are getting ready to wrap up our school year here in the next few weeks. Right now it's mid-May and we usually aim to be done the week after Memorial Day. So we are kind of getting ready to finish, but we kind of still do a little bit here and there through the summer. So if you want to check out my summer homeschool plan specifically, I have a video about that I did a few weeks ago, and I will link that below for you. But also some of the things that we don't finish up, we will be continuing on with a little bit in the summertime. A lot of times in the summer, I am able to either catch up from read-alouds that I haven't gotten to this school year, or I will get ahead a little bit for the coming school year. This year, we are mostly going to just be finishing up what we haven't finished this school year. Now, we are going to go ahead and start with our Bible and character and habit training curriculum. I have a few things to show you. So the first thing is our Faithopedia, and this is the Old Testament Faithopedia from Not Consumed, and we are almost halfway through. So once you get to this point here, we just have a few pages left, then you turn it around and you start flipping the other direction. So we are in Psalms right now, and so we just do a page a day, and we've been doing some other Bible studies this school year as well, so that's why we are not using it every single day, but we do really like it when we use it. For character training, we have been using character concepts for the last couple years, and so I recently did a review here on character trails, so I'll link that below. But this has 12 character traits, and each character trait has 3 sections, and so we do 1 section a week. And we started this last summer, and we just recently finished it because we started a little before the school year was over last year, and we really liked it. So we are going to be using the next level next year, which I talked about in my electives video that came out on Monday. So the next thing that we loop is Laying Down the Rails by Simply Charlotte Mason. This is the lesson book. There's also another book that comes with it where you actually read all about that habit and learn a little bit of information and Bible references and things like that that go along with whatever habit you're going to work on. Right now we are at the end of working on the habit of cleanliness, and so we are just going through this book 1 lesson at a time, about 2 days a week. And so we are on lesson 10 next time. And then after we finish lesson 12, we'll just go right on into the next one, which is courtesy. Or I might pick from a bunch of the other habits that we might need to work on in our home. So this has been really good. The next section is science and history. Also, I wanted to mention that we have a little bit of background noise. We have a baseball field that's right behind us, and I actually tried to start filming this video outside, and as I did that, I had a helicopter flying over, a bus coming in to drop off the baseball players for their game this afternoon, and then they turned on the loud music so that they could get their field all cleaned up and ready to go. So it's just been a little bit of a loud afternoon here, so if you can hear the baseball music in the background, then that'll be a fun time. But let's get back to history and science. So this year, at the beginning of the year, we started with Our Star-Spangled Story from Knotgrass, and I had purchased that because I wanted a lighter history load for this school year because I just had a baby in the middle of summer last year. And I thought, oh, I won't have time. We've used Sunlight in the past. We've done HBLB and HBLC in 1st through 3rd grade. It kind of took us 3 years to do 2 years worth of curriculum, but that's okay. And so once we started with Our Star Spangled Story in the fall, my daughter was kind of doing it on her own, and I was reading it along with her every now and then, and we just didn't love it. I really liked the program. I liked the materials. It just didn't work for us. So we put that aside, and a friend of mine, she used Bookshark, which is a sister company to Sunlight. She had Bookshark DE condensed, so that's American history. It's 2 years condensed down into 1 year. So what I did is I went through all of the section that would be for level D, and I pulled out all those materials and put them on my bookshelf. And so we have just been doing the first half of the curriculum since January. And I am going to kind of talk about what we've been doing. So we read a book called Pedro's Journal, which my daughter really loved. That was a nice read aloud to start out with. We read a book about American Indians. And then we started reading through the landmark history of the American people. And this is a book that has 22 chapters, and it has maps and information about American history early on. And we are about 12 chapters in. So we are just learning about the Constitution, and things like that. So as you read this book, there are also some other books that go along with it. So we are right in the middle of this book called If You Were There When They Signed the Constitution. And it looks small, but it has a lot of information in here. So it actually breaks it up into maybe 20 pages at a time to read through different people that were there, how they decided to structure the Constitution, the different sides and how things almost fell apart and things like that. So we've been reading this book. We're almost finished with it, but I look forward to finishing that up. After we finish that book on the Constitution, we will continue on with the Landmark History Volume 1. So next year, what I forgot to say earlier was that next year we will be switching back to Sunlight, but we'll be doing level E, and we'll be doing the full year course. So we just kind of condensed D into half a year, and then we'll be moving on with a full year of level E. So I'm really looking forward to that. We finished reading The Witch of Blackbird Pond. I am an extremely slow read aloud person. I'm like 1 chapter a day kind of person, especially with little kids. Once they're down for a nap in the afternoon, I am all done. And usually I don't feel like reading aloud, and that's kind of like the last thing on our to-do list, honestly, and I really want to get better at that. So hopefully this coming school year I can do a little bit better with read aloud when the little kids are awake, so that I don't have to save it for later. Right now we are actually listening to Carry On, Mr. Bowditch, and that is narrated by Jim Weiss, and so that has been really fun. My daughter has really liked it, and we listen to it in the car on our way to dance and back a couple times a week, and that's been kind of a nice chunk of time to get at least 1 chapter or 2 in on the way there and back. I found that I do better reading along, so that's why I have my sticky note here, because if we're not in the car and we're just listening to it here at home, I like to read along with it because I actually can comprehend it better when I do that. So that's been interesting. So we will finish up the Landmark book, and then we will also read a book coming up called The Lewis and Clark Expedition. So I will probably be talking about in our year-end wrap-up video in a month or so. The next thing, in History and Science section, we finished up Marine Biology from The Good and the Beautiful, and we really liked this. We finished this up a couple weeks ago, and these are just nice unit studies for science, and we really liked both of the ones that we did this year. I'll talk about those, like I said, more in my year-end review video, but we finally finished this. We were doing about a lesson a week since February, so we have finished that. And now we are working on Health, Safety, and Manners. This is a book that I actually got at our homeschool convention last year for $1 in the used curriculum exchange. And I just thought it looked good. It's an Abeka book, and I made a little kind of lesson plan that I keep in here of what I wanted to cover each time we read through this. But it just talks about health, which we haven't really done a lot of in our other science units. So it just talks about like exercise and diet, first aid, healthy habits, safety, and then at the end, it also has, they call it Be Courteous, but it has some different things like politeness, kindness, respect, helpfulness. So we are working on these once a week now since we finished up our character curriculum. So we kind of alternate between the health part and the manners part once or twice a week. The next section is actually my daughter's morning time, and these are just things that she does on her own. I have recitation that I printed out for her on a paper, and it's the recitation that is from Ambleside Online Year 4, Term 3, if you can follow all of that. But it is a couple of Bible verses that she recites every day, and a couple of poems by the poet that we're working on, which is Wordsworth right now. And so she recites that to her little sister when her little sister is having some Cheerios usually, and little sister has no idea what's going on because she's 10 months old, but my daughter likes to do that and read that to her. Then she reads her Christian Liberty Nature Reader. She just reads one section of this. I have her do this about 2 or 3 times a week. And then after she has read, she comes and narrates to me. So today she was telling me about some unusual flies, and that was actually really interesting. She was able to tell me all about these flies that, they have interesting features. We'll just put it that way. So she reads her nature reader, and then she reads her poetry anthology. This is volume 4. And we are working, like I said, on William Wordsworth. And so she just reads a poem to me each day. And some of them she likes more than others, but she enjoys reading through those poems and getting to know that poet. The next section is Bible, what we call Bible and Gratitude. So I use the Ambleside Online Bible reading plan. And so she reads whatever that day's Bible reading passages. They've been going through 1st and 2nd Samuel this year for Old Testament. And then they do a few different parts of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So she usually has 1 or 2 chapters in Samuel for the week, and then a couple of sections of New Testament for the week. And then on Fridays, she gets to choose a passage on her own, or she likes to sometimes read in her Action Bible, something like that. But then after she does her Bible reading, then she gets out her School Nest notebook and she works on gratitude. So she probably won't want me to actually show you this, but she writes a sentence of things that she is thankful for or grateful for. And then she will often illustrate something as well. So she uses 1 page in here. I'll show you a blank one. So here's what it looks like inside. There's dot grid on one side and then lined on the other. And so she just writes the week, and then she writes the things that she's thankful for. She has to do at least 3 things that she's thankful for every day. So she writes in that. She also practices her Awana verses right after this. This is actually her last week of Awana, and she's actually already finished her verses for this year. So she is kind of finishing up with that. And then next week we have her award ceremony for Awana. This is her second year in the TNT upper elementary group. We've been doing Awana since she was in Cubbies when she was 3 and 4. So she really enjoys that, and she's really good at memorizing things. It's kind of incredible, actually. So that is kind of wrapping up Bible and gratitude. And so for the last section, it's her independent work. And so she has several different subjects that she does either completely independently or mostly independently. So let's start with math. She has been working on Matthew C. Delta this year. This is the division book, and this has gone pretty well. We seem to always get to this place in the spring where it gets really hard at the end of the book. And so that is where we are at right now, and we have slowed way down. So the way that this program works is, the fan won't turn off. Hopefully the fan will be off in a minute. But the way that this program works is that each year is focused on something very specific. So in first grade, we did all addition, single digit, double digit, all of it. Then in second grade, we worked on subtraction. Then last year in third grade, we worked on multiplication, and now we're on division. And there are other things sprinkled throughout, but it's mostly that topic. So this year it has, just like always, gotten really hard in the spring. We are working on long division. We worked on dividing by single digits. Now we're working on dividing by double digits. And so that is getting much more challenging, and she doesn't love it. I don't know about your kids, but when things are hard, sometimes attitudes can pop up and things like that. So we have been working really hard on math and working in even more review than what already comes kind of in the program. So if you haven't done Matthew C before, I'm happy to do more videos about how to do Matthew C, also how to supplement a little bit for Matthew C if you need more practice and review, because it does have some review, but it is a mastery program. So even though there's review throughout each of the weeks, it's not a ton. So we have found that we need a little bit more review than what actually is scheduled. The next subject that she works on, and this is completely independent, is building spelling skills. And I actually got this for her last year, but we only wound up doing like 10 weeks of it. And so she's just working on this independently. And these, I'll just show you a week that she hasn't gotten to yet. So the way that this works is that you start with your spelling list here, you write the words, you do a visual memory day, and then there's word meaning day over here with some dictation, and then there's word study, and that's it. There's just 4 days worth. You can do spelling tests at the back. This is actually the student workbook. I don't buy the teacher book that goes with it because I don't really find that it's necessary. Plus these are way cheaper, and she just does the lessons on her own, just for a little bit of extra spelling practice. We will not be doing a spelling program like this next year. I talked all about that in our language arts curriculum picks that I posted a week or so ago. So if you want to know what we're doing for language arts this coming year, feel free to check that out. I'll link it below. This spring we started Fix It Grammar Level 1, which is Nose Tree. And the reason that we started it in the middle of the school year is because we were using Christian Light Education Reading 4 from week 1 through week 20. And we really liked that program. I did a full review on that. We really liked it. If my daughter didn't do so much reading already with her Sunlight readers, I would probably still have her keep doing that because she really enjoys it and the stories are really good. But this coming year, when we get to Sunlight Level E, she will be just doing so much reading that I did not want to load her up with another thing to do. So I decided that we would go ahead and start Fix-It Grammar this year and kind of see if we like it, see how she does, and go from there. So right now she's on week 9 and she likes it. It's kind of challenging for somebody that hasn't really had a lot of grammar. I mean, she knows what a noun is and things like that, but sometimes these go a little bit fast. So we've kind of had to slow down and do some of it together and things like that. But all in all, she really likes it. I'm just not sure how much I like it. But she likes it. So that's what matters, right? The next section is her readers. So we have done Sunlight since she was in 1st grade. And the way Sunlight works, when you get a History Bible Literature package, you get grade level readers, or if you're in the next grade level above, you can get the next one above, which is what we always did with her because she was an early reader. We were already doing Sunlight Level D readers along with the Language Arts program. And that's because last year I had purchased the readers for her to read through. And then when I got the readers, because they were used off of eBay, I realized that it actually came with the full Language Arts program for Level D. And I didn't even know that it was coming with it. So that was kind of awesome. So we just decided to try it and use it and see if we liked it. And we did mostly like it. We kind of petered out here towards the end of the school year, and we only wound up going through, I think, week 27 out of 36. But the way that program works is that on day 1, you do copy work, and I'm sorry, you don't do copy work. On day 1, you do dictation, and so she studies the passage, and then I pick out part of it. The dictation passages for someone that was new to dictation were kind of long, so I just picked out like a sentence or 2 of each dictation passage. She would find the capitals and the ending marks, and she would look for any words that looked challenging that she might need to study for a bit before we actually did the dictation passage. Then they would do some grammar things and some writing projects. And she's not a huge writer. She doesn't love writing, so we would kind of play that by ear, and some of the projects we did and some that we just skipped. But she really liked all of those readers, and I will be doing a video in the next few weeks once she finishes all of her readers. She has, I think, 2 left after this. But I will be doing a full review and getting her opinion on which readers she liked the best and which she didn't like so much, and everything in between. So be looking for that video in the next few weeks as we wrap up our school year. Another book that she read recently was Pagoo. This is a Holling Clancy Holling book about a little hermit crab who has different adventures. And she liked this book. They're short chapters, a page or 2, sometimes 3. But she really enjoyed this book. She just finished this last week. And then some of the readers that she's been working on recently, she read Robert Fulton, Boy Craftsman, and she really liked this book. I knew nothing about it, hadn't even heard of it. I've heard of the author, Marguerite Henry. We've read multiple of her books, but I had never heard of this particular one, and my daughter really liked this one. And then after that, she read Timmy O'Dowd and the Big Ditch, the story of Eli Whitney, Sarah Plain and Tall, which was a quick little read. This was only a 1-week read. This is kind of a small book. And I remember watching this movie when I was a kid, so I would like to read this book because I haven't read it yet. I was really good at pre-reading all of her readers last summer and at the beginning of the year, and then I just kind of stopped. So about half of the books I've read and half of them I haven't. So now we're in the part that I haven't read yet. Right now she's reading this book, Tikta Liktak, I believe is how you pronounce it. And she has only just started this book today. So a few illustrations along with the text, but she'll be done with this by the end of this week. Okay, so that takes us through our whole weekly checklist, and that is what we've been up to here in our homeschool. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you may have caught on that I am kind of going a little bit more, I've always been kind of a literature-based homeschool or homeschooler, but I have always been very interested in Charlotte Mason methods, and so one of the books that is always recommended in Charlotte Mason circles is the book Know and Tell, The Art of Narration by Karen Glass. And so I have been working my way through this book. I'm almost halfway or so. And this has been really interesting about narration and kind of how to start, especially with an older child, because my daughter is going into 5th grade next year. And so her learning to narrate at this older age hasn't been a challenge, I would say, but it just gave me some pointers and things to remember on how to go about that. And so I'm really looking forward to finishing this summer and then going into next school year with a lot more of a Charlotte Mason method for language arts. And like I said earlier, my language arts picks are in a video that I did recently, and I will link that below. So if you're interested to see what we'll be doing next year for language arts, go ahead and look at that video. But it is heavily inspired by the Charlotte Mason method, and I'm really looking forward to that. I'm a little nervous because it's something new and it's not like laid out for you on a lesson plan, which is what I'm used to. So it'll be interesting, but I'm looking forward to it a lot. Well, I think that is everything that we have been doing here recently in our homeschool. If you have any questions or comments, let me know how the end of the year is going for you. I am definitely excited that our year is wrapping up here in the next couple of weeks, and then we will kind of be going into our finish up anything that we haven't done this year for the summer. And we do have some summer homeschool plans specifically for some books that my daughter will be reading, and some math that we're going to be working on. But other than that, oh, and that's in a homeschool summer plans video that I will link below as well. So just look forward to that. And I hope to see you in the next video. I hope you're having a great day, and we'll see you next time.